Alright, so I had y'all watch Seoul versus LA. And y'all kept, for the most part, y'all took pretty good notes, kept track of what your positions were doing. So now I want to kind of zoom out and take a look at what the team as a whole is doing and how we should be looking to incorporate some of these things into our gameplay. Or AKA why I fucking bothered to ask y'all to take those notes on that match. We're gonna watch map 3, King's Row, because I think it's a good map and it shows why Seoul is so dominant or is such a good team.
Far back and force.
Let's meet the shit. Okay, so right away, LA Valiant's comp, it's designed to win the tank fight, right? LA Valiant's comp is pretty decent against what's the normal meatball standard. You've got the Zarya to counteract the Junkrat, which is probably gonna be there, because the Junkrat's usually the DPS is one of the more common DPS that's run with like the Slamulance comp. Having the McCree is pretty nice too, because usually Slamulance might not run D.Va. Or at least there are a couple flavors that don't run D.Va. Not only that, but the McCree can kind of do stuff for free. You know, get a lot of L charge pretty quickly. He can stun the hog out of his vape, which is a huge part of how Slamulance is able to exert pressure. Is that they just run in with Ryan, and then as Ryan's shield is recovering, Hog can like walk up for free and try and do something, and regardless of whether he hits or misses, he can just vape and get that 50% damage reduction forever, and then get the double, and then get big heals from Moira, so that it doesn't matter. Valiant's comp kind of loses to Widow if they don't hide behind the shield, and then the presence of Widow, she can just swing out from attackers to like this area here, and then really start to put the pressure on Valiant. But then if the Valiant's good, they can work around it. On the flip side, Soul's comp I like a lot. First of all, because it has this really solid dive core of Winston, Tracer, Zen. So, like, whatever target is discorded is gonna get fucked up. Tobi can pocket Fleta and keep Fleta safe, because that's what Mercy does. Mercy just picks a squishy and is like, this homie is fine. This homie will succeed in life. So provided the homie is good, of course. And then D.Va's just an all-around solid pick. So I really like that comp coming out of Soul. I also like Valiant's comp, but on defense, it's like, you want to be a little bit more general with how you set up your compositions. Okay, cool. So Valiant just like start moving out, and then look, they're immediately fucked. They're immediately fucked once they try and pressure the door, because Soul just plays slow, right? And they're just like, whatever. We're not gonna fully engage on them yet, even though they're like not in the standard position behind Hotel. Like, why chase here, you know? And then this is something that's just unfortunate. Unco is just jumping randomly, while Fate is shielding. So just keep that in mind. If there's a Widow on the other team, we don't want to necessarily be randomly jumping, but if you're behind the Ryan shield. Especially since Unco's Moira is arguably the most important part of Valiant's comp. Because now you have 3 tanks and you only have Lucio heals for it, and that doesn't work. So yeah, now that the Moira is dead, they can slow push. And by slow push, Miro isn't jumping the backline and trying to get immediate picks. He's holding W and left click at the same time, right? So he's putting pressure on the front line because LA's front line knows it doesn't have the healing, but like, it will eventually die. Miro's also putting a lot of pressure on Soon, and you're gonna see Bunny come through sorry. Bunny's gonna come through and finish off that kill on Soon, because again, they only have Lucio heals. And I'm pretty sure Verbo ate the bubble that Agilities is trying to give to Soon, which is unfortunate. So now with the slow push, right, and because Miro saved his jump, now he can jump. So Soul have complete control of the point after only getting 1 kill. or I guess 2 kills. Well, they got 2 kills, but there was that one big pick that opened things up for them. LA Valiant couldn't fight because Soul didn't overcommit. If Soul overcommitted and like tried to go deep into the dive, they might have Valiant might have been able to turn it. But Soul played correctly by just slow pushing, right, and using that 6v5 advantage they have, especially since they picked off Valiant's main healer. So it was just it's just a pretty solid slow push. Valiant are gonna try and recontest, but like Soul's pretty set up. And again, it's not like they're going super fast. They are just Soul is just slow pushing the shit out of this team. And eventually they pick up all these kills. So now, if we look at the ult economy, after 2 slow pushes, after 2 slow pushes, we look at Soul's economy, right? Soul has Tracer ult, and they're about to have Widow ult, and they're close as shit to charging their other ultimates. In particular, something that's important to note is that Ryu was able to quickly charge Transcendence at the same rate that Tobi's charging his ultimate. This will matter because in a situation where you're against an enemy grav, being able being against an enemy grav, being able to trans a Mercy through a res is pretty nice. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but like it's something to keep in mind. It's one of the interactions that make Mercy Zen such a good combo. I guess I'll just talk about it now actually, because I don't know if I've talked about it in the past. Mercy Zen's really good because Zen is the single target man, right? Like sure his ult's AoE, but like you don't judge a hero by their ult. You know, you gotta look at what they do to the kit. Tobi and Mercy and Zen are good at enabling a team to focus down one target, right? You got the damage beam on Tobi, and you got the Discord orb on Ryu here, and so like as long as Soul is coordinating properly, whoever is discorded on Valiant will have a damage boosted Widow's trying to hit them, so even if they are a tank, they're gonna get fucked. Zen is good with Mercy as well because Zen can obviously Zen is like a backline fighter. He's always a safe place for the Mercy to fly back to, and Zen can protect Mercy through anything, right? Not a lot of the other healers can do that. Lucio needs to either be in the sky, or the Mercy needs to not be in the sky. Even then, it's kind of hard because the aura is not that much healing. And what's more, the Mercy can pocket the Zen. Lucio is a peel option, but he's not necessarily good against enemy poke. Because then, like, what do you do against poke as Lucio? You try and land your shots, and then you amp, and then they keep poking you, and then you die eventually. So yeah, that's a really bad explanation, Jesus Christ. But Mercy Zen is a good combo. Mercy Zen's a good combo. And that support core facilitates a slower play style. Not necessarily like a hyper fast dive, because Lucio as a support is all about tempo, right? Whereas Zen Mercy is about Mercy is about like the pocket, and Zen is about like grinding your way out through a fight. So Flood is on this angle. So what are Valiant gonna do about it? Now Fate has to, so Valiant have to change to full dive. So they regardless of what Soul does, Valiant lose ultimate economy. Their first defensive comp didn't work. Envy's the only character that stayed the same hero, and he's desperately behind Zumba, sure. This is fucking sick. Okay, so what Soul did here, Soul pushed up in a way that prevented the Valiant from ever contesting second. They know Valiant know that Flood is on that left side peeking as Widow, and then it's like, okay, we can't peek the Widow because the Widow's gonna fuck us up, right? But like at the same time, where are they going to team fight? if Valiant try to advance into the streets and try and contest the cart, the Widow can just grapple behind and start landing free shots, right? And then they'll have the Widow will have a Mercy pocket, so it's gonna be hard as shit to kill. And even if you do, the Mercy just flies away, and the rest of Soul can re-engage once Valiant turn around to full commit to the Widow. So the supports are kind of caught in here. They're like, okay, we'll just contest when the cart gets close to the end of second, right? Because this Widow is applying so much pressure, and then Bunny's also applying pressure here. So, and with what Bunny's gonna do here, he doesn't even have to get kills. He just has to stay alive, and keep poking, keep being obnoxious, right? So now both of LA's supports are occupied, meaning any fights that the LA DPS and tanks take, they have no support. And so watch what happens here. They just get run the fuck down. Well, meanwhile, the people you don't see are moving the cart. Yep, and they just corral them in this corner. Valiant fucked itself. So this is LA Valiant trying to play a full dive comp and trying to play fast, right? They were trying to use tempo, dive on the back line, get some kills, clear some of these supports out. But they never had they never had the tempo advantage. So and Valiant seemed completely unprepared for the slow dive that Soul is playing. Right? Soul can basically do whatever it wants right now. After the Valiant had to switch up its comp, it is just now about to charge its first support ultimate of the game. And that's huge. Because support ultimates are like basically how you win team fights in big ult fights. And it's not like and even against Soul's comp, there's nothing you have to save Sound Barrier for necessarily. Unless you're a god and you think you can preempt the and you want to save it for the pulse bomb. But having Lucio ult's gonna be pretty nice, but at the same time, Soul still has Transcendence. They've been sitting on that ultimate cooldown for a while. Tobi Valked last fight to keep things safe. Because again, you notice on Valiant they have the Genji. So that's really good ult economy management from the Soul supports, knowing that like we have 2 AoE heal ultimates to win us this fight and cap second, but we need to save Trans for Genji. And that's correct, by the way. Flood almost takes his head off out of spawn. And look, like the way Soul push up, there is nothing that LA can do. They are finally starting to move out to contest. Winston jumps in, and then... Okay, so this is fucking brilliant. There's not a lot that LA can do to push on the Winston when he drops down there, and just sits in his shield. They can just like chip at it, but there's a Widow peeking them, right? So, if we watch how they use their ults in tandem... Sorry, I'm like feeling sick. All of Valiant are pushed up in that back left side because they're afraid of the Widow. So bang, send the D.Va ult, and you're gonna flush him out, and then as you're doing that, Winston's gonna jump in. Winston's gonna jump in there, and just start creating as much pressure as he can, and just keep Valiant in the middle of the field where they're in line of sight for Fleta. And then Soon makes a pretty decent play trying to like stall cart for like 10 seconds, because realistically there's nothing, like his team is so far behind in just positioning. And then look, as soon as Valiant try and jump out, immediately the three main divers from Soul are in that ass. And then he has to Valk, and that's Valk. Ryu has to do his thing. So then Dragon Blade happens. It was that dive was a little preemptive from Soul's tanks and Bunny, because they didn't have full control of like because they needed to protect. They needed to protect from the retake because LA started to have an ult economy advantage. Like after that last fight, even though it looks sick as shit, it was sick as shit, but like at this point in the game, Valiant have ults. It's a fact of life. You have to accept it. Because, like, it's not like the team's never going to have ultimates. Soul is playing with a full ultimate advantage for this entire time. And now, for the first time in this attacking round, Valiant were able to equalize the ult economy, and Soul, like, and Soul didn't properly account for that. So now, Soul changes tactics. Instead of going with a more pick-style dive, where the dive flushes people out for Fleta to finish off, Fleta's going to switch over to that Genji and just get in the dive with him, and Tobi's going to go Lucio, and Soul's just going to go fucking nuts. Watch the change of tempo, right? Before, all these fights were pretty slow from Soul. Soul would just slowly win these fights by going one target at a time, just sing along with Ryu, and the pocket from Mercy, right? They win this slow push. And now Soul's going to look to change the tempo. Soul's getting ready. Or Soul doing it. Okay, yeah. So right now, Soul's just like chilling in main. They're trying to charge ultimate. They're trying to charge support ultimates. Because they know the Dragon, LA's Genji just bladed. But the Unko, the Zen probably has ultimate by now. So for this push, they should either look to try and bait that shit out by diving directly onto Unko. Or they should be looking to like poke out, take damage, and then retreat. And either bait Valiant into them so they can counter dive on their supports, and blow the ultimate blow the Valiant Transcendence like that, or they're trying to just charge their support ultimates. Both are pretty effective. This is a good eco push when you're down in ult economy. They have 4 minutes. They're not stressing out, and they're slowly gaining ground. I have no idea why Sin's back here, but he is. So yeah, and Soul's not going nuts. Soul's taking its time. Flood is low as shit. And then bang. I don't know why Unko popped his trans, but Unko is forced to use trans. Okay. Fleta. Okay, so what is the second that Unko pops? Okay. Where's Unko? Fleta's low as shit in the back. Both the Soul supports are caught in elbow, or macaroni, whatever you want to call it, or health pack room. Unko pops his ult here. Oh, I guess he got stuck by Bunny or something on the pulse. But this is big for Soul. Soul got 3 Valiant Soul got all of the Valiant ultimates they were looking for. They don't have to win this fight. This is honestly, to win this fight would be not impossible, but difficult as fuck. So they just like Soul slow pushes on. Soul just slow pushes on, threatens backline, and gets the Diva ultimate and the Zen ultimate. Meanwhile, you look at Soul's support ult economy. Fleta is more or less at the same place as Agilities in terms of Dragon Blade, but Ryu and Tobi are gonna have ults, while Unko and Verbo don't. So that's an eco push. An eco push isn't necessarily just feeding. It's like, okay, what ultimates do we need to win this next fight? Agility is probably gonna have. So then you think to yourself, okay, their Genji's probably gonna have Blade, or he'll be close. So like, we need chance. What else do we need? Fucking Winston hasn't ulted yet, so we're gonna need to be able to increase our HP pools in order to stay in the fight. So we'll get Sound Barrier up there. Our Winston ult's coming up soon. We got Diva ult again, so we can do we can flush people out from their hiding holes. So now that the eco's done, Soul's gonna collapse on Soon, and they go quick as shit. They don't like fuck around and let Soon do whatever he wants. Soon gets super caught out of position here, and they just immediately dive on him. All 3 of the divers from Soul just collapse, and then Winston just goes. They're just going. They're going fast as shit. Ryu pops early trans. Agilities saves the ultimate, and that's cool. They kill Ryu here. Agilities is now caught in a corner, and he gets collapsed on. He doesn't have a chance to do his thing. And then this ultimate, this is all Zumba's been doing. He's just been sending it in this back left corner to force a Valiant off the point. So now you're gonna notice Tobi in theory should be saving this this barrier until the fucking thing. What am I talking about? Yep, There it is. There's the thing. That thing. You know what I'm talking about. And then they just do a good job of kiting out. Unco transes to get agilities in, but Soul is able to split him up by retreating into Macaroni, so that Zen doesn't have LOS, and then they just kill agilities. And then Flood is like, they have no trans. I'm in there, and then he dies because life's hard. But it doesn't matter because all of that fighting, it took Valiant off the point, right? If they stay on the point, there's a Winston and a Diva contributing damage, so then they just lose. The way Soul pushed it after getting this one pick, they trans to keep Ryu alive, they keep frontline in there. They kill the Diva like pretty much instantly, and they isolate down targets too. Like they dive in initially, but they don't go super ham into the enemy backline, right? Because then you're leaving Ryu and Tobi exposed. And Ryu dies here anyways. But that's Zenyatta and dive. That's a part of life. You will die. They jump on the Winston, or the Soul's Winston jumps in. Soul's Winston jumps in after they get this pick here. Immediately puts pressure on, and Agilities goes in, right? So right now this fight is split. Unco and Verbo are caught on the other side of this Winston, and in their mind, and if they walk up, they get fucked. So they have to like kite back and put pressure on Miro, so Miro leaves them the fuck alone. Meanwhile, the rest of Valiant went in, but right now that just means it's Agilities and it's Envy. Fate's somewhere. I have no idea where. Maybe I'll see him in a hot second. Yeah, there's Fate. He went super deep, and then Ryu just transes. So there's no way that Valiant win this fight while Ryu's just transing. So now Soul can all full turn and kill the Valiant defensive divers. They kill the Diva first. Diva's dead. Now who do you kill? Now it's just there's a Winston, and there's a Winston right here. Because the Winston's trying to chase after Tobi, because Tobi still has ult, and they know that. Ryu dies. At the same time, Fate dies. So right now, Valiant have no tanks, and Agilities is deep in the backline, and his supports are way the fuck on the other side of Cart, and Soon's coming out of spawn as Tracer. So then Valiant just turn and collapse. So, like, it's textbook. They don't have to go too fast. They don't have to. They don't have to go nuts and kill the supports. Soul barely touched the supports. Alright, wait for the Dragon Blade. They have Dragon Blade. They're about to re-engage on us. They have to re-engage on us soon. Here they go. Barrier. They also trans that. Cut off the LOS. Kite that shit out. And now we dive. And all of them and all of Valiant are preoccupied with Flutta, so they get to move the card for free. And then they win. Solid dive. Solid textbook dive. Soul was patient as shit. Right? Soul didn't need to go ham on the enemy backline because Soul knew if they did try and just go kill the supports, Verbo would be able to kite them out, and then the counter dive would get Ryu killed. And when you're attacking, when you're attacking, you need to make sure you can remove the big stall characters, especially when Cart's near the end. Cart's near the end. So Soul played dive, but it wasn't a fast-paced like super dive, right? It was a momentum-based. It was a momentum-based dive, where they almost played that. Where as the attackers they played counter dive, and they made sure that LA never had the opportunity to just jump on their supports without getting punished. It's a really good play from them. And then Ryu gets greedy and just kills himself. Kind of par for the course. Alright, so that's a huge pick. Ryu's gonna have to run it back. And you see here, after that first pick, it's like really hard for the Dynasty to contest because there's no more Discord Orb. Whereas Valiant are not only is Valiant's comp really easy, it takes up a lot of space. They can spread out pretty well and give sightlines for soon. But Soul doesn't have Discord, so like they have to work really hard to kill things, and I don't think it's even possible. Because if you have Zunba, Fleta, and Miro and Tobi all jump on the same target, even without even if there is a Discord, like Valiant obviously can just split up and then crossfire into it. But because there is no Discord, Soul doesn't win fights against the front line anymore. And Soul can't freely jump LA's back line without getting kited and booped and killed. So, big pick. Zenyatta allows Dive to win frontline fights. And it's not like Dive should always go front to back either. But Soul does a good job of recognizing, like, okay, if we just try and monkey out on the enemy squishies, we're probably gonna get fucked. And then Soul does something interesting here. Soul just plays really close and contests in this hallway. So like, LA's kind of paranoid, right? Remember how when LA was defending second, they got rolled and they lost a lot of free real estate. They basically lost all of second before they even got a chance to contest. What Soul's doing right here, they are preventing this dive, like, doesn't work. I'm pretty sure, if memory serves correctly. But what it does, it prevents LA Valiant from taking forward positions and establishing control of the high ground and important points on the map on second phase of the map, right? Yep. So it wastes a little bit of time. It helps Soul charge some ultimates. It helps LA charge ultimates too. That's worth noting. But what Soul's doing, Soul's ensuring that it will have a chance to defend second. So yeah, now Soul goes too deep, and so Valiant should be able to just freely collapse, especially since Lucio went off and did something else. There he is. Bye. So this looks pretty familiar, right? Valiant are set up in 4 positions. Cardi's just passing Bookstore. Just passing Tavern now. Meanwhile, everybody on Soul is ready to go. And we look at the ultimate economy advantage. Unlike Soul's attack, where at this point LA was super fucked in ult economy and only maybe had like 60% to D.Va ult, Soul has sound barrier ready. Soul almost has trans. Soul has trans at the same time Valiant will have trans. And Valiant immediately won the push, which is pretty nice. You're gonna have Pulse Bomb sooner because Soon had to swap over from Widow to Tracer. Agilities does have his ultimate, but Soul has an answering defensive ultimate. And they're ahead on support ult economy, which is kind of nuts. Even though Ryu got picked first, that fight that they did right there, with all the healing going towards the front line and being able to throw out damage, helped Soul charge up their ultimates. Doesn't mean they're not going to get rolled, but like, it's helpful. Wait, how did Ryu get his shit first? What face? Where is the boy? Genji's fucking around in backline somewhere. Oh, he must have just landed a volley. Yeah. You just landed a volley. Okay. So Soul's winning ult economy. And you saw Genji in the back like a shit ton. Here's what Genji's doing, right? As soon as Valiant looked to start moving up and start to contest the fight, you saw the Winston jump in here. The Zen's here, and the Genji's flanking from way far behind. So and if the Valiant Zen had trans, he has to pop it here in order for the team to win the fight, which would, I'm assuming, then prompt a counter barrier from Tobi to keep Soul in the fight while they peel backline, if it's even necessary. The D.Va's also diving on the Soul's D.Va's also diving too. Okay, so then they barrier here. Ryu dies though. That's huge. Soon killing Ryu means that even though Valiant's Zen died first, there's no more trans, so agilities just hit Q whenever you're ready. He's low though, so they're gonna back out. Bunny's gonna kill soon. Mira's punching things. And Soul are able to win that fight thanks to a deep flank and being able to call out a good target, right? For Soul, it's like, we're going to have our Dragon Blades in. We need to get this Trans out of the way. Trans is the best ultimate that the enemy team has. Trans, otherwise, like... Otherwise, Agilities wipes us. Because Soul's comp is bad at stopping Genjis. There's a Discord Orb and Winston. And that's basically it. They have no tools to peel from except for Lucio Boot. It's rough. Soul here pops Lucio Ultimate and they pop Winston Ultimate. They save their other 4. While Valiant pops some ultimates of their own. But it's going to be a 4-on-4 ultimate fight. Where Valiant have Unko's ult and they have Verbo's ult. So they're going to be pretty happy. So since they should be able to win this next push. Just good little thing here. Ryu does. Tobi's able to charge ult so quickly because Zen already has his ult and it's in downtime. So Zen doesn't put the healing orb on anybody. He just lets Tobi pick up all that percentage. So here, this is pretty forward positioning from Bunny. Bunny can kind of do whatever he wants because the cart's over here, and if he leads and if he like distracts Valiant and leads them on a merry chase in alleys on the right side, Soul can come over the top and dive on them, or at least dive the Zen. Because that's what Soul wants to do on defense here. Because it's really hard in when playing dive versus dive. It's hard for the attackers to do anything when one of their supports dies. Because then they're reduced to, because in a diving attack, you have 3 sources of healing on this map. You have cart, and then you have your 2 supports. On defense, you only have 2, like maximum forever. And obviously they're health packs, but like they're neutral. They don't count for anything. Or they count, but like they don't count towards either team's healing supply. And in dive versus dive, if the other team has more means of sustain, the team with more sustain will win. It sounds really dumb when I say it, but like, you know what I mean. So Soul has to remove one of the sources of healing so that Valiant have a harder time winning out a long, drawn-out fight. Valiant get on the cart, and then bang, look, immediately, Flutta, Winston, Flutta, Miro, and I'm assuming we're going to see, yep, there's Bunny, and I'm assuming also that Zemba is going to be in the mix at some point soon. They jump on the Zen, and they force out the Trans. So right then, Valiant decide, you know what, fuck it, like, we gotta go. We got a Trans, we might as well blade this. This will be the fight we win. And immediately, Ryu, as soon as Agility's pulls out the blade, Ryu counter transes. So now everybody's holding hands and nobody's doing anything in this. And then Bunny also gets a huge stick onto Verbo. So let's watch that one more time, slow-mo. Okay, bang. Instantly, people are going in, right? And as soon as Unko transes, Agility's just like, I'm just gonna blade in this, fuck it. Soul had all the appropriate ultimates, and they were ready for the response. So now, instead of Zen being the most important target, who's the most important target on the side of the Valiant? It becomes the Tobi, or the Lucio, because the Lucio still has a sound barrier, whereas Tobi's only on 60%. And Soul's aware of this. Soul's like, they haven't sound barriered once this map, I'm pretty sure. I'm assuming. They haven't sound barriered once. We don't have sound barrier. So, but while we're both in like dueling transes, they're not gonna pop barrier. So we have until the end of we haven't. So like, Valiant aren't gonna pop their barrier until after their trans is done. The only way they can kill them is with Bunny, right? So you look at what the rest of Soul is doing. Bunny has to land the stick on Verbo. So Ryu's transing right now, keeping Winston alive. Winston's just on Envy. Winston is just looking at the Valiant Diva and being a nuisance. And you see other people move up at the same time. Envy's distracted by all the people coming in. He's trying to protect his team with Matrix, and then Bunny's able to get in through the back and land the stick. So now, regardless of what happens in the follow-up fight, it's like. Even though Ryu dies and then Tobi dies soon thereafter, Valiant have no supports. Dynasty have no supports. Dynasty have ultimates they can use. They have this tank ultimate right here that I'm looking at. That might be pretty nice. Because I'm not sure if Fletta's gonna ult on nothing, or if Fletta's gonna ult with no help. Miro gets caught out of position though. He went too far, and then Soul slowly loses fight. So the fight started really well for Soul, but then after the barrier dropped, Valiant were able to counter dive onto them because Tobi didn't have any tools to get rid of that. Miro was really far in, so Valiant are able to turn that fight around. However, Soul was able to pop the trans, which is huge because they saved their blade. So they have a guaranteed teamfight win coming up, since they will be able to. They might be able to match barriers, provided Soon doesn't pick Tobi. If you're Valiant, you know they have blade. Ryu just transed, so the next ultimate that's gonna cuck your team is that barrier. What's more, you can't rely on sticking the Genji, because Genji is a hard target to stick regardless. And if Tobi's able to charge ultimate quickly enough, then he's just gonna bury your Genji, and then it's gonna be whatever. And if you stick the Genji, Soul can just play passive and retreat and wait for Genji to respawn and then try and take the retake fight. It'll be harder, but they can do it. So right now, Soul wants to charge Tobi's ultimate. They need it for this next team fight. Soul moving up here, not allowing Valiant to control the space, right? They're not giving up free real estate. Valiant were scared shitless, for good reason, and they because there was a Widow on the other team. So they played really respectfully. Without that Widow presence, knowing it's just full dive, Soul knows it can walk up because there's only one entrance into this area. They're not going too far out though. They're hiding around. They're like chilling around the corner, and then they blade. They blade in. Fletta's gonna get a 3K. Let's watch that one again. So, okay, here we go. They're moving in. Envy's still a baby, right? And Fate's up alone. Fate has no help. He has a Zen orb on him, and that's it. He doesn't have anybody in front line with him except for. Is that a no? Sin's to your screen right. So Fate's just on cart alone, while the rest of his team's coming back. So Soul's gonna discord him and then immediately jump him. Jump the tank. He's overextended. We're gonna punish this idiot. Bunny goes in. He's putting a lot of pressure on Fate. Fate's gonna die. Right. So at this point, Fleta says, and then at this point here, Fleta's like, Fate's low as shit. I'm gonna blade. We're gonna fight out here, not on the cart. We're gonna fight while the enemy team is split up. We're gonna fight while Envy is just gotten back into mech, while the enemy team is split up. Right? So they kill the low target first. Bang, Fate down. And now Fleta turns, and he sees Verbo and Unko in the corner over here. And there's behind him. There's a Soon. There's maybe an Agilities. There's an Envy for sure. But he's going to ignore them. And then the rest of the team follows up. So Miro chases down the rest of this barrier with Bunny. Or not with Bunny, with Fleta. Let's see who else we see. Okay, it was kind of hard to tell. Yeah, it's hard to see from slowly pausing, but I'm just gonna try and call out everybody I see who comes along for the ride. Winston's there. Soul's Diva's there. Bang, 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 bang. You're getting all these free kills, and they only had to pop one ultimate that they know Valiant won't be able to match. And not only that, they got the sound barrier up too. Valiant realistically had no way of winning that fight. They had no ultimates that would allow them to team wipe. Right? And if Valiant just try and dive on backline in a long drawn out fight, Soul will do the exact same shit they did on defense. They'll cut the team in half. They'll kite out the deep divers, and then the supports will move up and into Soul's front line, who's busy killing Valiant's back line. And what's more, Tobi just charged his barrier, and Verbo popped his, which is a big no-no right here. If you have Agility's ultimate coming up soon, you need to save that shit. So because of the overextend, that's unfortunate. Because of the overextension from Fate, just sticking on cart when the rest of his team wasn't there, Soul immediately capitalized and punished, and saw an opportunity where they can team wipe and beta and force out ultimates from Valiant. If Valiant and Valiant should have held their sound barrier here. Verbos should have held the barrier. They should have just been like, all right, this is the last fight. We accept our fate. Move on, right? That way, when Agilities charges his ultimate, you can at least get Agilities in safely with a barrier and then do shit. But now they have no support ultimates. They have no DPS ultimates. Agilities is up soon. Miro's close to his ultimate. Zunba hasn't had to SD in a while. Tobi has his thing, and Bunny has his thing with this kill here. Soul are doing whatever they want. They're putting so much pressure on Envy, and the rest of Valiant aren't helping him out. Like, they can just walk up for free while Valiant are just poking outside of their spawn door. And then bang, Soul's gone. Peace. They scatter. D.Va can stay on the cart, because D.Va can fly away. In times of trouble. This is a really deep dive, and it works, and I hate that it works. I'm pretty sure Soul loses this follow-up fight, because they're fighting literally outside of Valiant's spawn door. But what they're doing is they're just wasting as much time as humanly possible. If Valiant have to take these fights outside of their spawn door and then start pushing the cart, because remember, the cart hasn't rounded the first corner and last yet. Soul are just giving themselves more opportunities to play deep. So yeah, watching that engage again. Where's Zen? Where's Ryu? Ryu's in a back corner, like somewhere over here. He gets a Discord onto somebody, maybe. Let's pretend he gets a Discord onto Unko. Yeah, he gets a Discord onto Unko, and he says go fetch. And Bunny and Miro come through the side and over the top respectively, and they just pop them. Done. Who's next? This is where the fight gets weird. They're resetting. Where's Miro? Okay. Wait, where the fuck's Miro? Oh, never mind. Oh, lol, he's here. I thought he was still in. Okay, fight didn't get weird. That was just a good dive. Taking advantage of LA not pressing W. Getting a good Discord off in the back. And what's important to note here is that Zumba is like the low-key MVP. He's doing really good D.Va things. Whenever Bunny and Miro jump in, Zumba is always following up and just matrixing them. He's not even dealing a lot of damage. He's making sure that the rest of Valiant can't go back to help, or negating their attempts to help. Valiant have no way of stopping this dive right now. Even though they're on the attack, Soul has the defensive positioning they need, and they have like the really good coordination. So now, Valiant are fighting for high ground, and bang, they get a pick. Miro's overstayed his welcome. And also the way that Miro kites, instead of kiting backwards into his team, he kites to the right, so he loses LOS. So he no longer gets heals. So now the name of the game is like, we don't win this fight anymore. Let's just waste some time. Maybe some ultimates if we can. All of Soul die near the point, and the cart finally rounds that corner. If we remember, Valiant had like 3.5, maybe 4 minutes when they got the cart to third, and now Soul's wasted 1.5 minutes doing nothing, and now they have ultimate advantage. So if you're Soul, you have to think, okay, how do they win this next fight? They don't have barrier. They haven't had time to charge it up after the last fight. Nothing's happened. Like this fight that just happened, that's Valiant one, was the first opportunity, like major opportunity for Verbo to charge ultimate. What do they have? They have Trance. They haven't used that in a while. They have Blade for sure. For sure have Blade, and they probably have the rest of their ultimates because we haven't seen them in a hot minute. So Soul with 6 ultimates. The name of the game becomes, how can we win this fight without popping everything? Fate gets discorded. Immediately, Zumba Zumba and Co. jumps on him. Fate has to back up. And we see Miro going after that kill in the back line. Miro can just monkey out because then he has his ultimate and then he can get out fine. It's whatever. No big deal. But right here, what this does, all of Valiant kite back to try and kill him and peel for and peel. Tobi pops his ultimate, which I'm not sure was the best idea ever, but it shows that Soul is committing to this fight. They're gonna go fucking apeshit. They know they don't. The other team doesn't have a sound. Valiant doesn't have a sound barrier to match, and in fear of losing that follow-up fight and getting staggered at their spawn again, Unco transes. Here comes the Agility's Blade. Oh, he didn't do it. Oh my god, that's legitimately surprising. I am shocked. Miro's still going nuts. Here comes D.Va ultimate. Just keep him pushed back. Just keep him pushed back. Ryu's gonna hold his ultimate forever until he knows it. Until Agility's casts his. And Flutta might just do his at any time, because there's nothing stopping him. Like right now, he'll do it right now. Cool. And then, in that kind of weird push and pull fight, Flutta blades and kills everybody once Valiant got really staggered. So yeah, as soon as the trance comes out for Valiant, all of Soul disengage. They just get the fuck out. They're just like, peace, we're gonna dip. Sound barrier's wearing off, they don't have to fight this anymore. And then bang, they re-engage once the trans is over. And they go right onto the enemy backline and make Valiant turn and back up. And then they disengage again, and then they disengage again, and then they send this out, and they scatter the team. They scatter the Valiant. Right? And then Fate tries to jump in and contest Zumba, who, like, he thinks is kind of free. Zumba's just literally just baiting him. Just be like, come on, jump me, jump me, jump me. And then he just dips. Fate's over here. He blew his jump. There's no way for... And then Envy's coming in too. And then he has to back off because Fate's in retreat mode. So both their frontliners use their movement abilities to do nothing. And Soul has stood their ground. They're in the exact same spot as they were before all this happened. So now they wait for cooldowns for like a little bit, and then Flutta says, I'm going. And then Zumba goes in, and Miro goes in. And Flutta can just like clean up. Because there's no more things that Valiant has to stop him from doing whatever he wants. There's no more threat. As Valiant's frontline is turning to peel, they die. They're just getting shredded by Zenba and Tobi and Zen and Ryu. And Envy knows they lost the fight, so he just kills himself. Okay, so Soul cast all but one ultimate. Only a couple of them were actually successful, but they got out a lot of Valiant's ultimates, which in a full ultimate fight is pretty good, right? Because Soul popped barrier so early, not only do they get trans out, which is a very important ability, obviously, because then Flutta isn't allowed to do anything, but Toei popped his early, so he's already halfway to charging the next one. Meaning after this upcoming fight, Tobi will have ultimate, assuming he doesn't get jumped and killed immediately. Agilities is holding his ultimate, and Ryu's aware of that, so Ryu's saying, I'm going to hold my ultimate forever. Because they don't have to use trans. That's the beauty of Sound Barrier in this composition, is it's a team fight winning ultimate that isn't Transcendence. And you need Transcendence to counter the Genji. Because Genji can't kill you through trans. Usually. For the Valiant, this is pretty rough. They are getting pulled apart across the map. They're getting baited, jebaited, bamboozled. They're getting fucked up in terms of pressure. And Valiant, you can see what Valiant want to do. Valiant want to jump on the squishies and roast them, but they can't, because then they just get turned. They get turned on and killed. So Valiant and Valiant know this, right? So now Valiant are like, maybe, okay, so we're going to have to dive on the front line and keep them from killing our front line. And then we can go onto the back line for free. And so how does Soul adapt? Because that's their best. Soul's best trait is adaptability. It's not their hero pool diversity. It's not even their mechanical skill. Soul's really good at adapting mid-series. So what Soul's doing now, they're not even looking to engage on the enemy front line. They're just like maneuvering the enemy front line away from the squishies so then they can jump on them for free. So now they're just gonna chill up here. Fleta gets found here, and I'm pretty sure he dies. Oh no, I'm thinking of something else. Okay, so Valiant are finally ready to start a push. It's a minute left. Nice buffering. So here comes Soul, or here comes Valiant. They jump in onto Zen, and Ryu sees Agility's there. He gets taken to low health, and he pops trans. That means Agility's is gonna have a free blade coming up. But first, Bunny kills Fate. Because this is just like LA not learning. He's discorded this entire time. Fate's discorded this entire time. He's jumped into the rest of the enemy team, and Ryu isn't there to back him up. So while they're in a trance, Soul turns and just kills the monkey. Because they can't lose this fight. So bang, monkey's down. So now it's weird if Soul wants to contest after. Then Fleta kills Agilities. Because you know that that Genji has ultimate. So after you kill the free monkey who just used his mobility, his movement ability, who's discorded while you're sitting in a trance, the next target you have to trans is the guy who's going to wipe your entire team when the trance is over. Monkey has no way of protecting himself. Monkey dead. I'm on Genji. As he's doing this, Ryu's walking up. You notice he's walking up. He's creating space for his team to come fight for free. Where Valiant can't do anything about it. And then also, at the end of it, he fades. He's behind a box. So it's just like really cool awareness from Ryu's part of like when he's going to pop out of trance and like giving himself cover. Even though he's extending. He's using a aggressive use of trance. So, Soul have no ultimates. Valiant have them. And Soul knows this. Right? Soul's like, they gotta have barrier by now. They haven't used that in a while. So Tobi almost has his barrier again. So if they can hold out and create a slow push, and make Valiant slow push, or if Tobi can stay alive through the initial onslaught, he will have barrier. How do they do that? Big fucking question. They don't have trance anymore, and Agilities have blade. They have Soul has no ultimates. Let's see what to do. There goes Soon. Soon goes to take. Soon goes up that left side. Zen and Winston are waiting for him, and Soon just gets fucked as soon as he rounds the corner. He gets right-clicked and Winston, and then he's dead. So they have no more pulse bomb. Zen is kind of free, but at the same time, the rest of Soul jumps in here, not only because they're up in numbers advantage, but because because this creates an opportunity for Ryu to get out. And if Valiant try to jump Ryu now, they're in a corner. They're in a weird corridor. They have no way of helping the rest of their team, and they get self-staggered by a lot. Don't want to skip ahead 10 seconds. So now Valiant are forced back to their spawn. So that was perfect for what Soul wanted to do. Soul picked Soon. Picked the fight. They got to pick off. So that and no tracer pulse bomb means that like you don't get one shot. That's pretty groovy. And then the rest of Soul engages a slow push fight onto Valiant's front line. Do they have any intention of getting kills? Yeah, it'd be nice. Do they expect any kills? No. What they expect is this. 95% on Tobi's ultimate. 91% on Bunny. 80% on Zemba. Before this play, where are they at? They're at 46, 60, and 45. Oh, never mind. This is way too late. Fuck. Okay. 75, 74, and 70. So roughly all the same. From this one play, just holding aggressively at the door and knowing when to go, they're able to get so much percentage. Tobi's just poking right now. He's poking for free. He's healing the poke. Tobi's healing poke. Rest of Soul engages. Go on their back line, or go on front line. Go on front line. Push them back. Push them back. Bang. They have all their ultimates. Or not all their ultimates, but they're going to have the ultimates they need to, like, survive this next push. Granted, it would be good if Ryu had trance, because Anko's about to have trance, and they still have that fucking Dragon Blade. But, you know, it is what it is. So now Tobi's tasked with saving your shit. Okay. Anyways. Soul are going to do the same thing. They're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to dare Valiant to make an adjustment, which they do. Valiant sends their tanks high ground. Meanwhile, Bunny's in the back. He's going to have his ultimate when he dives. He's not diving yet. He's playing patient. Okay, then, bang. We found Zen. He's in stairs. Valiant go to collapse on him. It's really hard for Agilities to do anything in a narrow corridor when he's discorded with a Winston on him. I don't even know if he's discorded right now. I think the D.Va might be discorded, but somebody's discorded. Ryu's gonna die. He gets jumped on by too many people. But look how many people it takes to kill. That's 3 members of Valiant down. What's the rest of the team doing? There's Bunny. Bang. There's Fleta. Trans done. That's huge. No trans. Fleta's coming up on his ultimate soon. And Valiant had to pop one of their ultimates. Fleta and Bunny they just flank around while all the tanks on Valiant are fucking around with Ryu on the high ground. They bait out the trans. And remember, Soul doesn't have to win this fight. The cart has been stalled forever. At this point in the game, it's not about you don't even necessarily have to worry about winning this fight. Dynasty are using this as an opportunity to try and blow Valiant cooldowns. Bunny's gonna airball there. That's fine. He's just running. He's just wasting some time. There's Zemba. He's just wasting some time. So Valiant finally get on the move. Valiant have 5 ultimates, but they don't have trans. Fleta has Blade. Tobi has ultimate. Zemba has ultimate. Mira's gonna have his ulti. Ryu's charging up fast as shit, so in the unlikely event that this fight goes super long, he will have trans first. Dynasty are all pushing up that left side. They're getting ready to go. Fate jumps in, and he tries to jump the Soul supports. He gets booped out. Tobi does a good job of booping the Winston out as the sound barrier comes out from Verbo, because they want to make this a decisive fight. They're worried about, and Valiant's worried about, like, once we dive in, Soul's just going to collapse on our tanks and kill them. So Verbo ults to keep them safe. So what does Soul do? They just go in. They go in on the back line. They're like, okay, we're not killing these tanks. We're just going to go forward. We're going to hold W. We're going to make sure these guys have to come back. These guys that are pressuring our supports have to come back to their team, or else we kill their back line. And then Fleta Blades. LA didn't do a good enough job of keeping track of enemy ultimates and knowing what support ults they needed. So, as soon as the sound barrier fades... Yeah. Actually, the sound barrier isn't even done fading when his Fleta Blade. Barrier now. Fleta just does it. Fleta just does it on the enemy backline. This is timed kind of well too, because Zumbo's mech just died, so Zumbo will then pop the ultimate to get back into mech, right? So then Valiant, who are looking to go kill the enemy supports, are like, okay, shit. We're getting Dovon. We got the D.Va out of mech. The D.Va's SDing. She's gonna be back. Meanwhile, there's a Genji in our face. We have to kill him. We have to kill this Genji. Genji already killed the Lucio, so that's big healing gone. That's honestly, though, like, the support that it can afford to die first. Actually, not even. Like, neither of the supports can afford to die first. I'm thinking in terms of, like, getting back to the cart and contesting. Verbo dying first is preferable to Zen, because, like, what the fuck is Zen gonna do? But, like, either of your supports dying there is huge. Because now, Valiant lost the ability to win long, drawn-out fights. And then... This is, actually, I think this is pretty funny. Tobi barriers Zumba. Like, that's all he does. That's all he barriers for. He catches, like, 4 other people with it. Jaehong is still, like, deep in the back, so he didn't get hit, and Miro's, like, around a corner. But Tobi barriers because Zumba is low as fuck in baby form. But now the baby diva will guaranteed get mech back. Which is just another fucking obnoxious thing that Valiant have to deal with. Like, as soon as he gets D-Max, Tobi times it, and then bang, it comes out. So even though Zumba's like 2 health, you can see right here, he gets fucked up. And then from there, who do we have to kill? Who wins them a fight? Right? Seoul are in control, they have sound barriers on them. They turn on this Genji. This Genji who has not ulted this entire fucking time. He's never had a clean opportunity to ult, where it would not get countered by a Soul ultimate. Agilities has been waiting for that big pop-off blade. He's like shadow burning right now. He's been waiting for that big pop-off blade, but Soul's ultimate management means that he's never had that opportunity. So then, and then Agilities gets jumped by Fleta and Winston, and he just dies. He's done. So it's just like all this time, even though Valiant did a good job of like knowing what they should be doing and playing dive kind of correctly, Soul was able to kite them out, and within individual fights, their target prioritization was on point. Their positioning was on point, maximizing the amount of defensive holds they gave themselves, while on offense, making sure they put constant pressure on the enemy team and making sure that the defense would never get the opportunity to set up in advantageous positions. So I hope this helps at all. This was the most ranty Rant-view I've ever done, and this was a close map. Valiant had some game, but Soul just showed how dominant they were through this. Alright, hope you enjoyed. See ya.